Welcome to the February 2018 Progress Report demonstration of the HAR to CAM Web Conversion Project. Deliverable 1 covers 6 tasks. Task 1.1 is migrating the existing facility data from HAR to the CAM database. Task 1.2 is the setup for future transaction history. Please note that the transaction history is a new feature and will begin when CAM is in production. Task 1.3 is the migration of facility comments into the communications database table. Task 1.4 is the migration of PMATF facility financials into the financials database table. Task 1.5 is the migration of existing HAR invoices into the CAM database. Lastly, Task 1.6 is the migration of revenue types. We will demonstrate the migration of facilities by first showing them in the HAR system. To access the facilities, click on the Facilities menu item. Then, click Facilities Search. Since we want to see all facilities, we will skip the search criteria and click the Search button. The facilities list is displayed. Note that there are a total of 43,803 facility records. Here is the facility table in the CAM database. You can see that the number of records is also 43,803. Task 1.2 specifies the setup for future tracking of transactions that occur in the system. Note that the tables exist to handle recording of future transactions. Since this is a new feature, the number of records is 0. Task 1.3 is the conversion of facility comments into communication records. Here you can see the communications table with the migrated comments. Task 1.4 involves migrating the facility financial data from HAR to CAM. Here you can see the facility financial table. In HAR, facility financials are accessed through the PMATF menu item. To demonstrate, we will search for a facility. Note that the facility has 5 years, or 5 records, worth of financial data. If we return to the CAM database and perform a search for this facility, we can see the same 5 years worth of financial data. Task 1.5 is the migration of invoices from HAR to CAM. Here you can see the invoice table with the existing records. We will compare an invoice record in HAR. In the PMATF menu, click the Invoice Search. Enter the invoice number and click the Search button. Here are the attributes of the invoice in HAR. These match the values in the CAM invoice database table. Task 1.6 is the migration of revenue types. Here you can see the CAM database table with the migrated data. Deliverable 2 covers the administration portion of the CAM project. Task 2.1 is the creation of the Flare default screen, which allows users to manage the default Flare codes applied to new invoices. Task 2.2 is the creation of the Flare default detail screen, where Flare codes will be managed for each revenue type. Task 2.3 is the creation of the document default screen. This allows users to manage information included on printed documents sent to facilities. Lastly, Task 2.4 is the creation of the assessments rate screen. This is where rates are controlled that are used when calculating PMATF invoices. The Flare default screen lists the revenue types that can have default Flare accounting codes applied to the invoices. This information is also used in the payment process, including producing deposit slips. This screen, as well as most others, will have helpful information. Note that EO is underlined. This means there is a tooltip. If we hover over the column header, we will see an explanation of the information in that column. Next, we will click on the revenue type of a record. This opens the detail screen, which is Task 2.2. Here, a user can update any of the accounting codes. These will be used when generating invoices with the same revenue type. Next, we will show the document defaults. This screen is the implementation of Task 2.3. Here, there are several types of documents with variables that can be dynamically set by users. The values saved here are then used when producing invoices or letters that are mailed by ACA staff. The last task for Deliverable 2 is the Assessments Rate screen. This provides users with an administrative area to update the assessment rates for PMATF invoices. The values saved here are used when calculating the invoice amounts and certified amounts for facilities. Optional fields allow users to document the statute information related to the rates. To demonstrate the tasks from Deliverable 3, we need to access the PMATF module. 3 tasks are included in the February progress report. The first is the PMATF import screen. Task 3.2 is the creation of the PMATF import routine. Lastly, Task 3.3 is the creation of the PMATF import exception report. Here is the PMATF import screen. In order to generate invoices, the system needs to have an invoice due date selected and 3 years worth of quadrant data. This is the same in HAR as in the new CAM system. First, we will select the invoice due date field. The calendar will default to the first available date. This logic feature is proactive and limits errors. Typically, ACA generates invoices on a quarterly basis. The next invoice due date would be April 1st. We will select the month field, then select April. The calendar updates to show the days in April 2018. We will select the 1st. Selecting a valid date will close the calendar. Note that the invoice due date is properly formatted in the required field. Next, we will upload the current year data by clicking on the Choose File button under the current year label. A dialog box will appear. We are able to search for the file on our computer. Double-click the file to upload it. Note that the file name is listed in the current year field. If necessary, we could click the Choose File button again and select a different file. Next, we want to upload data for the prior year. Again, we find the file and double-click to upload it. We will repeat this process for the 2 years prior data. Once we have selected the 3 files and the invoice due date, we will click the Generate Invoices button. While the import runs, the screen is disabled. The routine checks for several validation requirements. In the event there is an issue with the import, the system will notify you in a system message. Here you can see the green Success System message. As with the HAR system, it is important that users check the reports before printing the invoices. The Success System message does include a link to the print screen for convenience. The print invoice screen will be demonstrated in a future progress report. Task 3.2 is the routine that generates the PMATF invoices based on the import screen previously shown. Here we can see that a query performed in the CAM database searching for invoices with a due date of April 1st, 2018 produced 622 invoices. The corresponding invoice screens will be demonstrated in a future progress report. If we return to the successful PMATF import screen, we see that 3 records have been added by the routine as well. Task 3.3 is the creation of PMATF exception reports. They can be accessed by clicking on the View link in the Exception Report column. The report will open in a new window so users can easily return to the import screen. The report can be exported to Excel or saved as a PDF. For each exception, a record will be listed. The Reason column explicitly explains why an invoice was not created. Please note that the error for more than one potential match will be eliminated in the production version. Recent analysis has determined a solution to cleaning up facility data so the facility number is unique and consistent across multiple systems and data sources. This concludes the progress report demonstration for February 2018. Thank you.